Welcome into Wknd Journal. I am Ray Stevens from CBS Radio's US 99.5 in Chicago, sitting with Ken Churilla.
Hey, Ray, how are you?
I'm doing well, pal. Now, full disclosure, you and I have known each other for some time.
Quite some time, yeah.
And then around radio circles, music circles, and then you decided to write a book. And when you took on the topic you took on, I got to say I was impressed.
Thank you.
The book we're talking about today is No One Said It Would Be Easy. It's a husband's journey through his wife's battle with breast cancer. Now, this is a book that takes us as men and as people through a guy's point of view through the breast cancer journey and struggle.
Absolutely. When you start talking about breast cancer, nobody thinks about the husband or the boyfriend that's attached to the woman going through it. And rightfully so. I mean, that woman is absolutely battling for her life. And if there are kids involved, there's a lot of focus put on them as well. But guys are in the middle of this too, and they have no idea how to handle things. But yet everybody looks to them to keep the ship straight, handle everything of their own business, work, their own things at home, and then pick up all the other slack of things that they have no idea how to do.
I mean, I don't want to dumb guys down, but for me, in my own personal experience, and that's the only thing I can speak from here, is the woman in my life runs my life. You know, if I need to get pushed to go out the door to go to the doctor, it's usually because a woman in my life is telling me to do these things. And again, this is only my point of view, and I don't mean to generalize, but I need somebody to help me through this kind of stuff. And then we're not necessarily great communicators to begin with.
That's like that in probably 95% of relationships. The woman handles almost everything. You'd be surprised when you really write down the job descriptions of everything that she takes care of. Kids, household, the men, bills, birthdays, commitments, all that kind of stuff. 90% of it falls on them, and they handle it amazingly to the point that we don't even notice.
If you could sum it up in a nutshell, what are we going to get from this book?
It's everything through his eyes. It's how he handled everything as a husband, as a father, and as a man. It's not so much the medical aspect of everything. It's literally how he dealt with every situation, every emotion, the various thoughts that ran through his head, and the way that it all transpired.
This is based on a true story?
It is.
And why was it important for you to tell this guy Tommy's story?
When this happens to a guy, it's like being plucked out of real life and put inside the middle of a hurricane, and you have no idea what to do. So I kind of liken reading this book in a sense to, it's kind of like watching game tape for football. You know, you have a common opponent in cancer, and it's not going to attack you the same exact way that it attacked Tommy, but there are so many similarities that depending on where you're at in your journey, it can prepare you for some things that might be coming down the road. Or if you're a little bit further in it or past yours, you can look back and kind of weigh against your decisions and your actions as to what this guy did. And a lot of what I'm finding is so many guys are feeling exactly what I thought, is that I'm not alone. You know, that was a horrible thing for me to think, or maybe that was the wrong thing for me to do, or whatever. But they feel alone. They feel like they might be the only one in the world that made that decision, and they find out that they're not.
And then I would imagine that a feeling comes along with that. Well, I'm feeling alone here, and I've got these issues going on with me, yet here this person in my life is going through all of this. So it kind of muddies the waters a little bit as to how you're supposed to react, I would imagine.
Well, exactly. You know, nobody can say, what about me?
Right.
I mean, like I said, she's literally fighting for her life.
You know, we see a lot when we work with kids with cancer, especially young kids, that if a child is diagnosed with cancer, everything's focused on them, and it almost then brings on this other role within kids. Hey, what about me? You know, and I've heard instances through my work with St. Jude's of other kids saying, well, I want to have this, so I get the attention. So I'm not saying that it's like that with adults, but there has to be a little bit of, I don't know if selfishness is the right word, but it's just this book is all about getting us to understand each other and working through it.
It's about communication. In a sense, the reader is able to communicate with Tommy and get it and see literally what's someone that's going in their shoes, because it's not the kind of thing that you can just talk about with your buddy, because unless he's been there, you don't know.
It's Wknd Journal. I'm Ray Stevens. We're talking with Ken Churilla. He is the writer of No One Said It Would Be Easy, a husband's journey through his wife's battle with breast cancer. We're in October, and this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and everything is about pink and Save the Tatas and everything else. It seems to me the book's filling a niche. I mean, this is something that affects a lot of women and in turn affects a lot of men, so I would say it's probably needed. And I also understand that a portion of the proceeds of this book are going to fund breast cancer research.
Absolutely. There's an organization here in Chicago, which is my hometown, that funds breast cancer prevention research here at a number of highly respected universities and hospitals. And so I'm donating a portion of my proceeds from this to that organization.
At the end of the day, when I read this book, or when anybody reads this book, and I know it's not just a book for guys to read, I know that men and women alike can pick this book up, and it's a good read, and it's a read that doesn't have a storybook ending. What do you want people to take from this?
I want them to take out of it whatever it is that they need. Some guys are going to feel better about themselves. Like I said before, that they're not alone in their decisions or their actions. You know, I've had a lot of women that have read this and taken out of it that they finally understand what their husband or their boyfriend was going through. And then I had one guy recently. He was a friend of mine. You know, my buddy wrote a book. I'm going to buy it and support him. And then in the middle of it, his wife was actually diagnosed with breast cancer. So he went back and started rereading it in a different light. And he said, you know, I thank you because this is making me change exactly what I was doing wrong. I didn't even realize it. And he could see the effects of it that was having on his home life.
The bottom line is be proactive. Make sure you get checked. And that goes for men, women, whether it's breast cancer, testicular cancer. You know, we got to be on top of these things. And the treatments today are there. So if we find these things up front, we've got a pretty good survival rate.
Absolutely.
Where do we have listeners of Wknd Journal find the book?
You can find the book anywhere at all the major online retailers, Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, BooksAMillion.com. It's available in both paperback version and then Kindle, Nook, everything that you've got.
I know recently you did a signing in Orland Park at the
Barnes & Noble. Right.
Anywhere else scheduled for the month?
Yeah, next Saturday the 25th out at Barnes & Noble in Oak Brook.
Where online can we get more information?
You can go on Facebook. It's No One Said It Would Be Easy.
Everybody knows Facebook. No One Said It Would Be Easy. I'm talking with Ken Churilla. I'm Ray Stevens. This is Wknd Journal. All right, 25 years in journalism, in the radio business in Chicago. I know that you've done a lot of biographies for big country music singers. I know that you like to dabble in songwriting.
Right.
Is the medical issue, is this something you care to reach out to farther? Is there more in the future for you, maybe?
It wasn't necessarily the medical thing as much as it was the story and the guy's perspective, and there was a need for this book. This is the only book that I could find out there. I don't necessarily think of myself as a trailblazer, but, you know, it's amazing that everywhere I look, I don't see another book like this.
And here's the thing. We're both very involved in fundraisers throughout our community for taking care of people that need fundraisers and money for whatnot, whether it be breast cancer, pancreatic cancer, whatever. We get a lot of these calls, and I know that this has opened up an avenue for you to meet some wonderful people. As a matter of fact, our friend Dina Bear at WGN has been a big supporter of this book.
Well, Dina herself is a two-time survivor, and Dina wrote the foreword for this book. And when you read that story and you get to learn more about Dina, she's just an incredible woman. Every time you turn around, she's doing things that most normal people just can't do. You know, she jumps out of a plane, and then later that afternoon, she goes and runs a 5K, both of them for charity. Whereas most people on a Saturday, they're lucky if they're out of bed off the couch by noon.
That is the absolute truth. The book is called No One Said It Would Be Easy. It's a husband's journey through his wife's battle with breast cancer. I'm sitting with the author, Ken Churilla, and I wish you well. And again, give me the Facebook address so we can get people to come out and see your book signings, or at least get the book and get it signed.
Absolutely. It's Facebook.com/No One Said It Would Be Easy.
Well, I'm glad somebody did it, and that's you, my man.
Thank you much.
Ken Churilla, thanks for stopping by.